Welcome, I'm Kelly with Move Redmond, and today we're doing candidate ride-alongs. Please introduce yourself and share why you are running for office.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly and team, for doing these interviews. This is awesome, so much fun. My name is Councilmember Melissa Stuart. I'm a council member here in the city of Redmond, and I live in the Overlake Village neighborhood. So I ran for office 4 years ago to really make sure that these urban centers that we are helping to develop right now and planning for can be really great neighborhoods. So I'm looking forward to another 4 years on council to make sure that my neighborhood up in Overlake Village continues to be really well represented. It is soon to be our most populous Redmond neighborhood, but also to make sure that we are able to deliver on the promises we made to the city of Redmond during our comprehensive planning process. So the city and our residents spent 5 years telling us what we're looking for in terms of housing and transportation, quality parks, and a great quality of life. And I'm looking forward to helping make some of these dreams come true that we just put on paper.
All right, thanks. What is your preferred way to get around Redmond?
Ooh, thanks for the question, Kelly. Well, obviously we're on the 2 line right now, so I have to say just how wonderful it has been since the 2 line has been open. These additional 2 stations in Redmond mean that all 3 of our urban centers are connected. So I live up in Overlake Village. I come down almost every day on the 2 line. My yoga studio is at Redmond Town Center, right next to the light rail station. Easy access to the park, easy access to connect in with all the trails and get around downtown. So obviously this has been a huge change in the last year. When my family moved to Redmond, it was one that we were looking forward to being able to participate in, and it's finally here.
So what are your current transportation priorities for Redmond City Council, and what do you envision for the next 4 years if you're elected?
Sure. Well, thank you so much. So we've been doing a lot of planning over the last 4 years with our community, all things housing and transportation and land use. We adopted the comprehensive plan, which is the most important guiding policy document of our city, and it really speaks to the values of the people of Redmond. We adopted that last fall, and there are still pieces to help implement that we are working on right now. So I really encourage everyone to get involved in helping us with the final chapters of, for instance, the Transportation Master Plan. We also just adopted this past spring, we adopted our Safe Streets for All action plan. The creation of this plan was actually funded by the federal government. And now that we have created this plan with a lot of commitments and policies and procedures and capital projects included in the plan, it actually makes us eligible for more federal funding to help make some of those dreams come true. So it's obviously going to be really important over the next few years that we are getting those projects funded, that we are taking on those policy decisions, including, for instance, when it comes to our safe transportation network, making sure that we're able to evaluate speed safety all across the city. That's one that's really important right now. We're also continuing to work on investing in safe bike infrastructure all around the city, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that. But over the next 4 years, we need to finish the Transportation Master Plan and begin to continue delivering on the connections that are going to help people get to this wonderful train system. This is the backbone of our transportation network here in Redmond now. It sits alongside a bike spine network that we are building out, a safe pedestrian spine network for folks to get around town. So it's all interconnected. We have a plan. Now we need to work the plan and start delivering on some of the things that folks in Redmond have asked us to prioritize.
Well, so that answer really leads into our next question about Vision Zero. The city of Redmond has passed a Vision Zero resolution, and Vision Zero is the policy to eliminate all serious injuries and fatalities on our roadways. What is your approach to implementation for Vision Zero and achieving that goal?
Thank you so much. Yes, so we adopted the Vision Zero, and then also, as I mentioned before, worked with the federal government to fund our Safe Streets for All action plan. What do we mean by Safe Streets for All? We mean whether you are on the sidewalk, walking, using the mobility device of your choice, if you are on your bicycle, if you are in your vehicle, if you are using a Lime scooter, all of the users on our transportation network deserve to have a safe path forward and a safe way to get home, a safe way to get around town. So the Safe Streets for All action plan uses a systems-based approach. You can think of this approach a little bit like a pie, and there's 8 or 9 slices in it, and each of those slices is a different piece of the puzzle for us. For instance, making sure that we are having folks traveling at the correct speed for the mobility device or the mode of transportation that they are using. That would be one. Making sure that our streets and sidewalks are designed to keep one another safe. That is another piece of this pie. So we believe that it's the city's job to make sure that we are doing our part to set the system up safely. And I personally believe that we as neighbors also have behavior change that's really important to help keep one another safe. So again, distracted driving is one of the most dangerous things that occurs in our city every single day. And we owe it to one another to work on that collectively too.
Yeah, thank you for that. So we're on light rail right now, and with the arrival of downtown and Marymore Village Station, Move Redmond's been really focused on access to the stations. What are some ideas you have to help more people reach the station, especially from neighborhoods that are a little bit further afield, like Education Hill or Idlewood Park?
Yeah, thanks for this question. This is so exciting. So not everyone lives right next to a light rail station, and I meet neighbors all the time in these neighborhoods you just mentioned who haven't even ridden the light rail yet for the first time. I'm always encouraging everyone to give it a try. So here's the plan. A few of my colleagues and I, we spent last winter in Olympia advocating for some dollars to help us make sure that we are developing the tools that it's going to take specifically for neighborhoods like Education Hill. So I'm really proud to report that we won these grant dollars for this regional mobility grant. This is just one of the ways we're going to help folks get to light rail. So if you live in this neighborhood, you're soon going to have a new transportation service. Think of it like a small format vehicle, probably electric, probably on demand, that you access through an app or something like that. And you tell this service that you'd like to go to the light rail station. It comes by, it picks you up, it takes you to the light rail station. The purpose of this service is to prove that there is demand for more service like this, and long-term to work with Metro to build out a more permanent solution for these neighborhoods. We also, of course, right now and into the fall, we have changes coming to bus service to help folks get to light rail more directly. This is really important to our neighbors, for instance, who deal with Redmond Woodinville Road and the backup of the traffic, because of course we need more bus service out to our neighbors in Woodinville as well, as they're all coming in to use the light rail. And the third piece of this, and this has been long planned, is that the Metro Flex program is coming to Redmond. And it's coming to the Redmond neighborhoods in Overlake all the way over to Crossroads. And what this means is that those neighbors are going to be able to access the Metro Flex program. A small format vehicle comes, picks them up, they tap their Orca card inside that vehicle, and it takes them up to the light rail station. So long term, here's my advice that I give everyone is we're all going to have to take a moment to learn about the new options to get ourselves to light rail. We need to use it, and we need to be vocal with our feedback, because this is how we maintain services, get services funded more quickly, and really show that we are invested in this as a community. So the way to make all of these things work better is to use them. And just like has always happened, you should expect that things will change along the way. We've always had 2 seasons of bus route changes in the fall and the spring. Think of it that way. It's just always going to continue to be that way. And again, when we have the smaller format options available to us, all of these are worth using and pursuing so that we can find a more permanent solution that works for everyone too.
Great. All right, thank you for that. Sure. So funding in transportation has been a little bit more constrained recently than in previous years. If the city of Redmond faced a budget shortfall for transportation projects, how would you approach solving this problem?
Great question. In the city of Redmond, we build out our capital improvement projects on a 6-year time frame, and we have an improvement program that is even a longer strategy than that. So I would say the situation you described, it's not impossible, but it's one we work really hard to prevent. So here's what we do, regardless of whether we're in a shortage or a surplus, or we are ever talking about dollars being spent on transportation here in Redmond. We have a list, we have that list prioritized, just like any household budget would. And when it comes to the transportation projects, obviously getting light rail completed was the big lift. But we have all kinds of projects going on right now. For instance, putting the buffered bike lane in on Bell Red Road is one that's really important. We have programs and project lists for all of these categories. And what I personally do is, I'll be honest, I'm a fair weather cyclist. So I don't know all the bike infrastructure intimately as I do as a pedestrian or even someone who rides the 2-line quite frequently. So when we have these questions and we have these moments where we really have to prioritize if a dollar is spent here or there, say it's in the bike network, for instance, what I personally do is I send the proposals from the staff to all of our bike advocates in community. And I would do that for any topic. Who are the folks who are going to be most impacted by this decision, and get their feedback right there on the ground. As a result of this, actually this kind of like methodology, I was able to help a resident recently just get their feedback heard a little bit more, and a piece of Redmond Way was added to the Bike Spy Network because this person brought forward a really compelling case to the staff, and now it is in the draft for our transportation master plan. So council members, yes, we go through the work to become elected representatives, and our job is to represent you. But local government is a team sport, and in any moment about spending any dollar, more engagement on any issue is better than not.
So say there's a project that is particularly contentious or hot around transportation or another issue. How do you approach dealing with that?
Say there's an issue that's pretty contentious around transportation. How do you go about solving that? Well, we look to the values of the city of Redmond, or I should say I look to the values of the city of Redmond. And again, we just spent so much time in community identifying these values. So our comprehensive plan is our guiding policy document for the city. And it values more than anything equity. It really, I can imagine a contentious issue coming forward on a transportation issue, having an equity element to it. So I believe that in those tough moments, it's important to make values-based decisions. This is something that I've done repeatedly on the council. Sometimes it means I'm proud to stand with my colleagues on 7-0 votes, and sometimes it means I have to sleep at night, and so I need to be a dissenting voice on a 6-1 vote. Never my favorite thing to do, but it does have to happen sometimes. So on all of these issues, I would look back to our values. Our values on transportation are correct the inequities that have been produced in the past, to make sure that we are building out the rest of our community in a land use pattern that places housing and transportation right next to each other, and that it can all become more affordable for Redmond families. So these are some of the things that I would hope to be making a decision for.
All right. So how would you ensure that transportation planning in Redmond reflects the needs of people of all ages, all incomes, and all abilities?
Well, thank you so much. Here's one of my favorite things about Redmond 2050. I know I'm talking about it kind of a lot, but it is our comprehensive plan, and we only get to work on that plan once in a generation. So we have now put on paper that not just these are things we should do, as you asked in your question, but that we must. And now it is my job, and the person who sits in the seat right after me, and the coming generation of the council, to deliver and to live up to that standard. So that's why I feel like with policy making, it's really important to be as ambitious as you can, so that you have to hold yourself accountable to that standard.
The National Week Without Driving is coming up this September 29th through October 5th. It is a way for decision makers and elected officials to experience the challenges that people face as a non-driver in our community. We are asking our elected representatives and folks running for council to participate in this challenge. We're also hosting a walk and talk on Thursday, October 2nd, talking about the access to the downtown Redmond transit station, or downtown Redmond light rail station. And we are hoping you would participate. Will you participate in Week Without Driving?
Absolutely. So I believe I'm already registered for the walk and talk. Okay. And because of your lovely emails, I've already put Week Without Driving in my calendar. This is something I have participated in the past. You always learn a ton. And I am curious this year. It's never easy. There's always challenges that come up, especially if you need to visit family or things like that. So the week without driving is always a really good experience. But I do wonder, with light rail being open now and connected to all three of our Redmond urban centers, it might. I'm suspecting it will be a little bit easier for me this year, but you never know, and I probably shouldn't have too many assumptions about it. Thank you for organizing, and I look forward to participating.
All right, and our last question is kind of an open one. Is there anything else that you didn't get the chance to share in our questions, either on transportation or another issue that's really important to you that you want to share with folks?
Couple things, and I've touched on this before. I think it's really important. This is a city of 82,000 people, and yes, we're growing, and all Northwest cities are growing, and we know that. But I really believe that we are stronger as a community the more of us that are participating. So I'm really happy that I'm able to run for council now and continue, hopefully, in my service on the council. But on a lot of doors that I've knocked on, and I have had so many great questions, specifically about bike connections to light rail and bike connections around town. I've been sharing with all of these folks that we do have a bike pedestrian advisory committee. This is a really easy way to just take one step more closely to the city. There's always a topic that the staff bring forward during these monthly meetings they need feedback on, and then there's always an open time for you to share what's on your mind with the staff. And what happens with the things that you tell staff is they end up in recommendations to us on the council. So please consider taking a look at the bike ped advisory committee. And the other thing I'll just say about how I spend my time is all of the transportation issues we've been discussing today are all so interconnected to our housing issues. So I'm really proud to stand for the housing that has least been built before in Redmond and the housing we need most. I think a lot about Redmond workers who are here making our community a great place to live, but may not have a chance of their own. We're passing right now the Overlake Village light rail station. Just across the way, this Sound Transit surplus land is soon to be 333 units of housing for folks who make about half the area median income, which, if you're not in tech, means if your income is normal, if you are an average everyday person working in Redmond to make our city great, you might have a chance to live in a place right next to the light rail station, just like this, and a little park space nearby. And it's going to be just a wonderful new place to live, and we need to not only get going on the groundbreaking of that particular housing development, but we need to keep going on this type of housing, the housing that's least been built before in Redmond.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Melissa, for your time, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.